Hello everyone, welcome back. I have the one and only Debbie Deer with me live on Dr. VR.
Hi, should I be speaking here?
You can speak here because I can hear you through this.
Okay, great. So yeah, hey, it's great to be here, Justin. Thanks for having me.
Of course, live in Toronto, in VRTO right now. Debbie, you are here at VRTO showcasing your VR experience.
Yeah.
You had a talk as well.
I did.
Very busy.
Extremely busy.
Extremely busy as always. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. So I'll start with the talk.
Yes.
The talk was based on diversity in XR and why it's important for us to include that as we approach AI and the singularity.
Yeah.
So what I was really discussing was, at first I started with some numbers, and your audience might want to know that Google, for example, has 94% men, right? And 60% is white men,
Yeah.
and then 34% is Asian, and then this other 6% is other. So I think even though Google is obviously one of the largest search engines and database, and it's one company, it's reflective, I think, of the industry as a whole. So I use that as kind of a gauge to say why we need to propel diversity in the future, because if those are the ones creating the LLMs and the essential brain of the AI, then we already know that biases will be embedded. And we need to change that as we go into a future where people will be relying on AI a lot to do many tasks.
Of course.
Yeah.
How do you intend to take part in this change?
Well, that's a great question. The first thing I'm doing is being in the industry.
Of course.
Already, being a black female, immigrant, all kinds of intersections, I have lived experience, and I spoke about this in my talk. Empathy allows me to know firsthand the value of inclusivity and representation. I see not only from a social standpoint how important that is, but also from a creative standpoint. It's always very good to have multiple things on the creative palette, and I think we're doing a great injustice to the world if we don't make a concerted effort to bring that forward into the future.
I absolutely agree. What happens when let's say you have your wonderful project you're working on, and that is here to be displayed? When it comes to the funding side of things, people who are there judging the quality of a certain product. How does it work? How does the industry looks like from the other side of the fence?
Yeah, it's a big one, because on one end, obviously, biases inform how you're received.
Yeah.
But on the other end, I think if you work hard and smart, and you actually find ways to hack the system. In other words, right now I'm working with the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce. They just started an initiative called Flip the Script, and it's teaching women how to use scripts, literal scripts, to change the outcomes of investment pitches and meetings. And you'd be surprised, like for example, they have certain criteria that they recommend when you're doing a pitch. So they will say, okay, you want to start by informing folks, you want to speak from the heart, you want to establish the problem, and then you want to give solution-oriented ways. But going deeper than that, I think people who don't have opportunities are taught to kind of shrink themselves, whereas folks who are used to having opportunities are taught to aggrandize themselves.
Yeah.
Or even put themselves forward, period. So I think if we learn how to change the language, change our approach, and kind of go from more of a business acumen standpoint from the heart as well, then people start to see us as humans, and we start to kind of break through those barriers.
Absolutely. Breaking through those barriers, I'm sure it can be very challenging, but you're certainly doing a great job, and I'm sure what you're doing helps a lot of people understanding the systemic barriers that creators like you and others are doing their best to do the wonderful things that you all do. And for this matter, I would like to talk to us a little bit more about your VR experience that you're presenting here, Nefertiti VR.
Yeah. So that's also a part of the talk. The Nefertiti experience, Stories from the Desert Sky, is the VR adjunct to the greater hybrid Nefertiti experience. And what it is, it allows folks to go in through MetaQuest and see the story of Nefertiti by going into a simulated Egypt, talking about the connection to the stars, hearing the love story between Nefertiti and her pharaoh, and kind of getting a chance to relive, Afrofuturistic Egypt.
Oh, I'm a sucker for Afrofuturism.
That's cool.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I had the chance of doing the experience a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
and I absolutely loved it.
Thank you.
Is there a way for people, my viewers, my listeners, to experience Nefertiti VR?
Yeah, soon. We actually just did an update. Collimation in LA basically updated our whole game experience, so you should actually try the new one.
Please.
It's a lot more user friendly. So hopefully in the next couple months we'll be able to do some kind of release. I think we'll be doing it through a school, but I'll keep you posted on that.
Please do.
And in the talk, I actually referenced how Egypt was a known hub for technology.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, I was able to draw examples from having things atomically etched into, pyramids and these chambers that were supposedly rebirth chambers, like immortality chambers, and how they had a version of Wi-Fi.
Can you imagine? Wow.
Nikola Tesla used the energetic, dynamic energy, to be precise, the principles of that from Egypt to reproduce Wi-Fi in the 30s. So,
Wow.
and those files were destroyed upon his death. But the point is that advancement in Egypt, advancement in Africa is not something that's new. We've been doing it for a really long time, and that's why I think the Nefertiti experience naturally lent itself to Afrofuturism, because I'm not making things up. I'm just highlighting the part that they don't talk about.
Exactly, and it's very important to bring them up. You also directed a very good short film that is in conjunction with Nefertiti VR.
Yeah.
Which is available, I believe.
Well, it's available to those who would like to run it at a festival,
Yep.
for example. Or right now we're trying to pitch it to go on tour. So it's still in its burgeoning period.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that it will land somewhere. But right now, I'm happy with just being able to demo and connect with audiences.
Of course, I had the chance to watch it, and it's exquisite. I absolutely
Appreciate it.
loved it. What's next for you, Debbie?
Well, I'm going to be the production manager with the micro-accreditation program in XR at Conestoga. So I recently got that job.
Congrats.
Thank you. So we're going to be, teaching 20 entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs the fundamentals of XR through mentorship and through assimilation. And that will be one of the biggest things on my agenda.
I'm sure.
But I also have a new agent and be doing some things in front.
Look at you.
So yeah.
Wonderful. Debbie, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I look forward to what's next for you. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully I'll have you again on Dr. VR.
I would love to be here.
Well, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed our little episode. I mean,
I would call this an episode.
I would call this an episode, but we recorded an episode in the past that's available on my channel. Thank you very much, Debbie.
Thanks, Justin. Merci beaucoup.
Mais de rien. See you soon,
Tout à l'heure.
everyone. À tout à l'heure.